Hello! So right now we are in my car filming this. Obviously it's absolutely gorgeous right now and I'm about to head to work. Got a lot done today. For one, I finished this book and then I finished some things for a course that I'm doing. It's just things are happening today, but after I finished this morning I really wanted to sit down and give myself some time to fully comprehend how I was feeling about this book. It was extremely poignant and there's no doubt that it will stick in my mind more so than documentaries and other things that I've seen on this subject. The subject, of course, being eating animals. I'm giving it 4 stars and it's weird because rating is weird in general. It's just like a really strange concept to try and figure out all your emotions and then put them from a 1 to 5 scale. It makes no sense. But I'm giving it 4 stars because I still have some questions that were left unanswered, but they're not necessarily things that Jonathan Safran Foer could answer. I just don't think there's any type of medium where those questions can fit in to, and so 4 stars. Anyway, other things that I have to say about this book. Like I said, I've watched documentaries in the past about this, and I think throughout the past year is when I've been completely invested and engrossed in this topic of eating animals and what eating animals mean and what the food industry means and what meat actually is. So about a year ago I watched 101 Reasons to Go Vegan, which I'll link down below. It's just this guy talking in a seminar sort of form and it's about an hour long and it's just very easy and accessible and it really just shows the reasons why we shouldn't eat animal products. So that really got to me and I was like, wow, that's so easy. This lifestyle looks so easy. I should definitely get into it because obviously the system that we have going on as far as factory farming goes is wrong. I've watched a few documentaries since then and I've kept going back and forth between vegan, not vegan, vegetarian, do whatever I want, all these different things, and so documentaries have never really stuck to me in that way, and between that and the vegan YouTube community, I've always felt like sort of a failure in that, and it's just put so much more stress on me than needed to. Eating Animals was the first novel that I have read on this subject, and I've realized that I am a reader, which I've known, you know, forever. Obviously, I have a booktube channel, but the written word means so much more to me than anything that I can just watch on TV, you know? I'm really not a visual learner. I learn through words first and foremost, and it's just, there's something about just like not just seeing something that someone's showing you, but reading something and then having to curate a mental picture of it that just really gets to me. And the fact that he's giving me all of this grotesque imagery about this industry and I had to make a mental picture of it, that struck a chord in me so much more than any documentary could. And I think that's a very important thing, and I think if you learn the same way as I do, this will affect you so much more. Something else that this book showed me that documentaries haven't, mainly because I haven't searched on it, honestly. I mean, if I searched it on the internet, then I'm sure that I would be able to find things, but I just assumed since the main documentaries that I had watched didn't mention the fish industry, I didn't quite understand why fish was included. Like, why should I not eat fish? I don't understand. There are billions of them and all different kinds, and the ocean is 75% of this earth. So I was just very confused about that. Jonathan Safran Foer really goes into why the fish industry is so terrible as well as the meat industry, and he talks about what is in our oceans and how disgusting our oceans are, which I didn't realize. I just like, and it sounds stupid to say I didn't realize because I have, like, within the past year been trying to educate myself so thoroughly on this subject, but I just didn't think of the fish industry as something as grotesque as the meat industry. And he talks about the toxic waste and like so many different things that just I haven't learned about before. Not only does he put a massive amount of facts in here, but he also puts in stories of different people that he has learned from, such as vegetarian butchers. There's a vegan who is working on a mobile factory farm. All of these things sound like oxymoronic, which isn't even a word, but like it sounds crazy, but he's telling these stories because he wants you to know that there's just not one side and the other. There's not just vegetarian and meat eater. We have to come together as a force, and not just necessarily to not eat meat, but to make our earth more ethically sound. And again, that sounds extremely stressful. And not only have I been reading this, but while I've been reading this alongside, I've been doing a course, like I said, and that one is a course that I'm doing through Starbucks and Arizona State University. And it's a course on sustainability and how to make our earth more sustainable and how to create a more environmental, socially, economically friendly environment for all of us to live on and for the future people to live on. And I'm learning so much, but all of these things just feel like so much pressure on one human to try and make the earth a better place. And a lot of people argue, like Jonathan Safran Foer said in this book, a lot of people argue that just being a vegetarian or just doing one small thing really doesn't help the greater good, and to say that you are helping the greater good by just not eating meat, you're one person that's not eating meat, it just seems like a dream. It seems kind of impossible. But then his argument is, yeah, you're one person not eating meat, but you're surrounded by so many people that do eat meat. And when you say, oh, I'm sorry, I can't have that because I don't eat meat, that's a conversation piece. One of the reasons that I was going back and forth from like being a vegetarian to not being a vegetarian is something that he talks about as well, which is something that you don't hear in like the vegan YouTube community and you don't hear in these documentaries. You really just hear facts, but he also talks about the family side of it and the fact that it's culture. Meat is culture. Food is culture. If you're sitting down and eating a meal with someone during a holiday or during some sort of time that you're getting together with somebody, you're getting together while you're eating food. Food is such a major component in everybody's lives. So to sit there and be one person that's refusing to eat part of that food that somebody probably made for you and probably like took a day to try and figure out what they're making for you and all of this different stuff, it's just like, it's hard. And he acknowledges that it is hard. And that's the one part of me that's like, it always kills me to be like, what if somebody's making this for me and I refrain from eating it? It makes me so sad to think of that event. And that's why like I was doing the whole vegan thing last year, and then during the holidays I did stop for a bit because I was just like, all of these people are being so kind and doing all of these things for me, and the least that I can do is eat the food that they have taken time to make for me. He acknowledges this is a thing, but then also he does argue that yes, this food is being made for you and it is culture and it is something that someone has made beautifully out of respect and out of like their own giving hearts, but maybe they don't have the knowledge that you do about where this food did come from. And with these animals who like turns out aren't even animals anymore, they're just like, they're literally like, they're things that we made. We've created these horrible versions of animals that have to deal with lives that aren't even lives. And that's what's put on that plate. And most people don't know that, but you can advocate for not eating it. And you don't have to tell people like all these horrible stories. They can find out for themselves. And you don't have to be disrespectful when you refrain from eating something. It's just, I don't know, it's still a moral issue for me, and I know I'm still going to be bothered if somebody makes me food and puts it in front of me and I refrain from eating it. It's still going to be just a major thing for me to refrain from, and that's the only thing, because like other than that, I straight up eat like a vegan all of the time. But then I can't call myself a vegan because I'm still transitioning all of my makeup and everything, and like all of these different things that come. There's so many things, you see what I mean? Like sustainability wise and eating and creating, it's something that's constantly in transition. It's not something that you can be like, oh, overnight I'm just going to change all of these things in my life. Maybe some people can. I can't. It's something that I'm going to continually strive for, but the thing that I'm trying to say is it doesn't have to be a stressful thing. You know, you can take one step at a time. And that's something that's like kind of a question for me with this book and makes me feel comforted at the same time is Jonathan Safran Foer isn't a vegan, he's a vegetarian. Yet he is completely well aware of all the facts of the egg industry and the milk industry and why it's so disgusting. He puts them all in here. And yet he's still a vegetarian. So I was trying to look up on the internet if there was any interviews regarding this fact or anything that he said towards it. The only thing that I've seen is that he is transitioning towards veganism. That fact alone definitely makes me feel more comfortable with the fact that I can just at the moment say that I'm a vegetarian and be okay with that, and not just strive to be completely 100% vegan or completely 100%, you know, ethically sound in everything that I do always, and just like continue to make this slow transition and continue to educate myself and continue to educate the people around me when they want to be educated and not force anything down anyone's throats, and just continue to just learn and be happy with just learning. So this book has just made me think a lot. It's so important, and like I said, it's helped me more than any documentary that I've seen thus far. If you haven't seen any documentaries on factory farming, I would definitely still suggest it, but I think this is wonderful if you are a reader, and if reading helps you learn more than actual just visuals, if mentally seeing something in your head that you're imagining helps you more, I would highly recommend this book. And even just in general, recommending it as a starter if you want to just learn more about the food industry. It's so important, and it's very easily accessible, and something that is quite an easy read, and at the same time just very hard to read for your heart. It's just like sometimes I had to skip on some of the more grotesque parts because I'm like, my mind was literally just blocking it out. It was like, nope, can't do this anymore. It's hard, but also it's just as hard as reading something like A Child Called It. If you've ever read that, just like the torture that people do to their child sometimes, like how far child abuse can go. This is seeing how far animal abuse can go. And some people can be thinking, well, how can you possibly put the two together into one thing? Like child abuse is one thing, animal abuse is the other. If you read this, you won't think that anymore. They're the same, and this is just like on such a massive level. It's disgusting. And so I'm just rambling so hard at this point. This is such a sad book, and it's such an important book, and there's a lot of storytelling going on, and there's a lot of family going on, and that made me really happy to see. Jonathan Safran Foer is a beautiful writer. I'd love to read some of his fiction now because this is fantastic. That's all I have to say about that. Today I just started Every Exquisite Thing by Matthew Quick, and this is what it looks like without the slipcover, and it says The Bubblegum Reaper, which is actually a pretend book that's within this book. So, oh, it's so good. I'm only 20 pages in, but it's so good. He already mentioned Bukowski. He tends to always just bring up lovely authors that I love. That's it. I hope you're having a good week, and I will see you very soon. Bye.